back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins. I'm your host. Talking all about girls sports today. We'll get into some track and field, and then we'll obviously talk about some lacrosse, some basketball news, and then we'll also talk about some soccer news. But we're going to bring on our featured guest about 4:15. Just reached out to confirm, should be good to go. Confirmed with him last night. But that will be West Forsyth girls coach Jason Slate, and they have been under quite a run recently. They have won 2 championships the past 3 years, going for 3 in the past 4 this upcoming season, and they're off to a great start. So we're going to try to catch up, talk to him at 4:15. But before we bring him on, we're going to talk a little bit about track and field, and some new records have actually been set. And I want to start with Lovett. They set a new 4x800 Lovett school record. The runners in that event was Sarah Turner, Mary Poole Smith, Abby Newton, and Ava Boren. Set the school record when they ran at the Pace Metros, and they set the record by 4 seconds. So they had an incredible meet there. And as you guys all know, track season is starting to heat up. Obviously, you got regionals, you got county championships, and things like that. But the new school record that they set was 10 minutes and 80 seconds. So shout out to them for beating the record by 4 seconds. They've had an incredible season so far, and they are making history for their program as well. So I wanted to give them a special shout out. The Lovett program, the girls 4x800 team. So shout out to you guys. So that is the first news we have there. And then North Atlanta continuing to do great things. They now are 3-peaters as APS champions. They've had a great season. Every time I've looked at the mile split, they've been right at the top. And they won their most recent meet at Lakewood Stadium called the Atlanta Track Classic APS Championship. They won it by over 30 points. They scored 185 points. Second place was Maynard Jackson with 155 points, followed by Midtown with 74, and then Carver Atlanta at 4th with 61. So they've been having a great year. Obviously, you know, their coach is also the running back coach, as Coach Doe. He does an incredible job with their team. And they've won a lot of region championships in the track and field scene. They've won 2021, 2022, 2023 in the boys. And they're always right at the top, competing and contending for championships. So they continue to do great things, and wanted to give them a shout out also on the program. And then we also had Kennedy Wardle. She won the 1600 meter championship with her outstanding performance for the Brookwood Athletics. And what's so cool is she's so young, hasn't even developed yet, and she's winning things like this. She's only a freshman, so for her to be able to win this event, win the county championship, was big time. I tried to look for a score or just a time, but couldn't find it. But you guys can go to Brookwood Athletics to see the latest there. All right, let's keep it rolling. Other big news. So as you guys know, it was the track championships for some counties. Gwinnett County was one of the main ones. Archer girls ended up taking it. It was a really close finish for them. Actually, for the Tigers, they finished with 80 points, and then they pulled ahead of the runner-up, which was Buford. They had 75, followed by Brookwood with 55, Mill Creek with 53, and then Greater Atlanta Christian rounded up the top 5 with a 50-point score. So that was the top teams there. Let's see as well. And it looks like Archer, they also got a runner-up showing from the foursome to seal the victory. They had a great 1,600-meter relay at the event, so they needed a 5th-place finish in order to continue, and they did outstanding. So this is via Gwinnett Daily Post. You guys can go get the full story there. They do an outstanding job covering Gwinnett County, but via Gwinnett Daily Post says, this is the best county in the state of Georgia to win this meet, especially here at our house. This is a big win for our program, Archer coach Ethan Casson said. You can see that with the girls and how excited they are. We have been bridesmaids in this county for 14 years, and we've been second at least 4 or 5 times. To finally kick down that door with a really young group of kids is special. So obviously you can see how special it is for their program. That was it on the girls' side. Let's see as well. And it looks like actually Archer overcame a disqualification on the girls 400 relay on Saturday. And it looks like Bree Brooks was very instrumental in them winning. She won the 800 by two. Looks like 2 seconds, 20.91 second time. As well in this relay, also had the foursome of Princess Okoye, Jernay Johnson, Lauren Brooks, and Winter Houston also took the 3200 relay in that event as well. It looks like Christiane, also for Archer, she was very good in the shot put. She had 43 feet and 10 inches, which is a U.S. top 25 distance so far this season. So she's been great, and she also placed third in the distance event. And it looks like they also got top finishes in the championship from Warren. She was third in the 3200 meter with an 11:28:35 time, and also third in the 1600 event with 5:24:31. And Faith O'Neal was second in the pole vault with an 8:6 distance in the pole vault. So shout out to her, and that's looking like that is the majority. Also, you had for Buford, J.C. Wright, as you guys all know, she plays ball as well. She sprinted to a top 25 U.S. time in the 100 hurdles. She won with a 14:03 time, and discoveries to Kia Sutton, who we'll talk about in a little bit. She took first in 300 hurdles with a U.S. top 50 time of 43:88, and Sutton was runner-up in the 300 hurdles. Then you had Danae Nebahard of Decula. She started in the jumps with victories in the triple jump and the high jump, as well as third place in the long jump. Other champions was GAC's Ava Kitchens in the long jump, national top 25 distance, and then Mill Creek's Victoria Freeland pole vault with 10:0, and then Grayson's Kajana Callwood discus with 132. So again, go to Gwinnett Daily Post, get all the latest results from the Gwinnett County Track Championship as well. And then we just talked about Tiflis Sutton, what she was able to accomplish. So she also in that event winning it and beating out Cameron Martin, who scored a 45:33 time, followed by Brooklyn Randolph with a 45:44 time. She set a new PR, and she also set a school record in winning that event with her 43:88 time. So shout out to her. Junior from Discovery had a big time showing at the 300 meter hurdles at that event, and she was a county champion. So shout out to her as well. And then we got one more on the track and field we want to highlight, and that is Lily Macrina. She set a new school record as well in the 400 meter. And she was Stockton Mortgage Athlete of the Week. So shout out to her and what she was able to do on the field, also setting records as well. And then other standout performances from the week, got to go with Maya Davis from Athens Academy. She took home the gold in Athens Clark Oconee County Area Championships with a PR in the 1600 meter of 4:57:09. Her new PR also is the fastest current time in the state. So she did big things at that event as well. And then Marley DeRanger from Bremen, she took home the gold in the high jump with a new PR of 5:10. It's pretty high. She shot at Bremen's school record and has the highest jump in the state. So she also had a spectacular performance as well in the event. So that's what happened as far as track and field. As far as just the latest new state times, we'll take a quick look at that. So it was several that were set. Sinai Frederick, she took home the 100 meter. So in the Napoleon B. Cobb DeKalb varsity meet, she is the new leader in the state with an 11:40 time. She also set the new 200 meter fastest time in the state with a 23:24 time as well at that same meet. So she did an outstanding job. And then we've said her name a lot on the show. Ala Watson Oyoli, she did the same thing, 2025 class. South Cobb, she set a new record in the 800 meter with 2 minutes, 7 seconds and 48 time at the Cobb County Championships. And then Mary Naismith of Marietta, the sophomore, she set a new 1600 meter time, 4:53:70 at that meet as well. And then the last one, the new state time fastest, is Jasmine Robinson of North Cobb. Her new record was 41:87 in 300 meter hurdles. So shout out to her, new record state time, and it's been doing outstanding. And it looks like we got a new 4x200 relay time that is the new state leader, and that's going to be Booker T. Washington. They set it at the Atlanta Track Classic APS with a 139.31 time. So special shout out to her for being able to do that. So that is the track and field results from this past week. Those are the new results. Obviously, you guys can go to milesplit.ga. They have the latest and greatest doing that as well. So one more thing I want to talk about. I just want to quickly hit on basketball before we bring on our guests. And speaking of West Forsyth, I wanted to give a shout out to Catherine Bottoms. She was actually named Forsyth County Tipoff Club All-County Team this past year, 2023-2024. So she had a stellar season for the Wolverines, and she ended up making Forsyth County Tipoff Club All-County Team. So she was great this year for the Wolverines, really did her thing as well. And then as you guys all know, I'm going to talk about it. It's going to be my top 5 for this week, and that's going to be Hebron Christian girls. Obviously, they're going to be competing in a big-time tournament, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I got to recognize the players that made Atlanta Tipoff Club all team, I should say. And that's Aubrey Beckham. We know the kind of year she had for the Lions. She was named to the first team. Jakira was named second team as well. Daniel Oshu, who came over from, I believe it was Brookwood, she was honorable mention. And you also had Maya. She also was honorable mention. And Jana Sar for what she's been able to do. And same thing, had dominant run with Wesleyan, also having a dominant run with Hebron Christian. She was named Coach of the Year by Tipoff Club of Atlanta. So special shout out to them, and they will be competing in a big-time tournament here in a little bit. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And the last one before we move on and take a quick short break, Alyssa Green, she committed to Bethune-Cookman. That was the big-time news for her. She's moving on to play college ball there, and she had an incredible season this past year. So that's the latest in basketball. But we're going to take a quick short break, thank our sponsors, and be back on the other side with West Forsyth's head coach.
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, welcome back. So I'm excited to be joined by West Forsyth's head coach, Jason Galt of West Forsyth. Talk a little bit about the Lady Wolverines. Okay. Hey, Coach, how you doing? Can't hear him. Give us one sec, Coach. I think you're on mute. We can't hear you. The mic's on. Can you hear me? Sure. You can hear me? Okay. Very faint. Okay. See if you can, Coach. I can't hear you. See if you can, leave and rejoin. Sometimes it'll kind of buffer. All right. So we'll try again. See if we can get them on. It's having a little bit of audio issues, but just talk real quick before we bring them back. Just the season that West Forsyth is having. They're doing an outstanding job. Yep. Okay, there we go. Coach, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, perfect, Coach. So, I just want to ask you, just you've seen a lot of success with this program, right? You started in, you've been there for a while. You guys won your first championship in 2021, Coach. Then you win another one. You go back to back in 2022. Just talk about, Coach. You've built this program to such a good one. What does it take to kind of build a program to where you have it today and be able to be kind of just a contender year in, year out?
Well, first of all, I'm very lucky to have the talent that I have here at West. I mean, I'm kind of like what Parkview was back in the 90s and early 2000s. As far as the soccer explosion over there, it's now here in Forsyth County. I think Forsyth County is probably the best soccer county in the state right now. and I'm just at the right place at the right time. I'm benefiting from having a lot of talented girls.
Gotcha, coach. And then just talk a little bit about, when you were building it, talk about the talent, but talk about kind of the coaches that you've had in there, the assistant coaches, and what they kind of meant to you and helping you get it to where it is.
Well, it is a cultural thing because, you got these girls all play for different clubs. So and they're different ages. I got 2 freshmen that are playing a bunch this year. I got seniors. So you're getting all these girls from different clubs, different age groups, and you're kind of bringing them together, and you're creating a culture that makes them want to be a part of the program. And I think the success we've had has helped. But, for me, I do things a lot differently. Like we don't practice on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are off for us. So we basically practice Monday, we play Tuesday, we're off Wednesday, practice Thursday. And then once the season starts going, our practice might be an hour and a half at the most. The first 3 weeks, we spend, that time every day kind of putting the system in and working the kinks out. But, a lot of it is just having fun. I mean, the girls, if I'm on them all the time and riding them and coaching them like I do in football, I don't think they'd play. So, and you have club commitments as well. We'll have girls that'll miss games because they're out of town for their club tournaments. And as a coach, you can't get mad about that. It's just part of it. So the culture we've created is one that I think it's a program that girls want to be a part of. We have a lot of fun. I can't remember the last time I yelled at them, honestly. I just, they're girls or teenage girls are silly. I try to be silly with them. So ultimately the culture is that of fun, but when they step on that field, those girls know how to play. They know how to play.
Yes, sir, coach. And then I just want to ask you, can elaborate on the scheduling. Have you noticed like that kind of helps out your program, having that Wednesday off? Obviously, you play a lot of soccer games. Does that keep them more fresher from what you've seen, coach? Just, having that practice.
I think so. I mean, I really do. I've been doing this for a long time. I was a head football coach for 10 years. And I've been coaching football and soccer my whole career. And a lot of coaches get caught up in just they practice and practice and practice. And by the time when they should be the most excited about the season come playoff time, they're burned out. And that's kids and coaches both. So I really think, looking at your program and what you do, sometimes less is more. These girls are high level players. There's not a drill that I do or a practice that we have that's going to make the difference in the next game, honestly. The saying I like to say is, we got to get the horse to the race. If these girls they're healthy and they're ready to go and they're mentally in the right spot, we're going to have success. So to answer your question, yeah, having that time off, I think, has been beneficial for us. It really has.
No doubt about it, coach. And obviously, we're going to dive deep into the season, but I want to get from your perspective, coach, how would you rate the season so far? I mean, you guys are having a great year yet again, but from your eyes, just in terms of getting better, improving, being where you want to be at the end of the day, how would you just rate the season overall so far?
I think we're peaking at the right time. Early in the season we were playing okay, trying to figure. As a coach, you have a plan going into the season, maybe a certain formation or certain things you want to do, and you start learning, your team and start finding your strengths and your weaknesses, and you kind of evolve and adapt to what you're doing. And right now we've pretty much settled on something that's working pretty well for us, and we're going to ride that and keep hopefully pushing that to the end. It's kind of like, with use a football analogy, we're kind of like a spread offense. We're run and gun. We play very direct. We're not trying to build from the back. That's highly overrated as far as I'm concerned. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So we're trying to get to that goal as quick as possible. And the more pressure we put on, the more chances we create, then those chances become goals, in the second half.
No doubt about it, coach. And then, I want you to share, just talk about some of your top players this season. And then obviously after that, I want to ask you about some of your underrated players. But who've been some of your top players that have been playing at a high level this year?
Well, I got a bunch of them. So my leading goal scorer right now is Abby Batts. She has 18 goals right now. And then Presley Freeman, a senior who's committed to BYU. She's really the workhorse of the team. I mean, she plays forward. And the funny thing is that for her club and for BYU, she's going to play defense. But I've always philosophically, my best players I want to put up top. We're going to score goals because in the high school game, mistakes are going to be made. You're going to give up a goal or two a game. In big games against quality teams, you're probably going to give up a goal. So we got to score goals. So I put my best players in a position to score goals philosophically. So those two, Bats and Presley Freeman, and then you got Marley Raymond, who's a very she's on the U.S. national team as far as lower levels. She hadn't made the team all the way, but she's been in the mix. She plays defense, and then I'll put her up top to play some offense as well. Got a keeper this year. It's a sophomore named Addie Utz, who's probably the best keeper in the county for sure. But she's one of the probably top 3 or 4 keepers in the state. I've got Kaylee Hilton, who's a senior, plays outside back, left-footed outside back, who can kick the ball a mile. Just poise on the ball. Just a lot of girls to talk about. Gabby Macer, who's committed to the Citadel, she plays in the midfield for us. I mean, I think I have like 6 girls that are committed right now, and then I've got about 5 more that will commit. I mean, they're younger girls, but yeah, some of the top ones for me are probably Presley, Batts, Macer, and Sophia McNabb has been doing a good job for us as well.
And then talk a little about your goalie. You were saying your sophomore, how she stepped up so far this year. You guys have been playing really well defensively. Talk about her impact and what she's been doing. Just not trying to allow as many goals.
Well, when you got a quality keeper, it takes a lot of pressure off your defense. I mean, we can work the ball around the back and not worry, and we can always drop it to her. She can punt the ball. We don't punt it very often. We try to possess it as much as possible. But I mean, on goal kick, she can kick it to midfield. She just knows the game. I mean, when you have that quarterback back there, kind of controlling everything and seeing and talking to her teammates, it takes a lot of pressure off your defense. It really does.
Definitely, Coach. And then you mentioned a couple freshmen a little bit earlier. Talk about kind of their impact and incorporating them into your system and incorporating them into the team and what you've seen from them.
So Addie Utz has a little sister named AB, and she's a midfielder, and she plays a good amount for us. She'll come and spell by other midfielders, but she's a quality player. Then I have a girl named Adeline Singer, who I'm telling you what, she's a really good. She's just solid. I mean, every aspect of her game is solid. We like to flip the ball on headers a lot. She can do that. Actually had the game-winning goal against Denmark for us on that. She plays midfield for us, but then when I put Marley up top, I'll put her at center back. And she's a freshman. That's the confidence I have in her. She's just a quality player, just calm on the ball, just a really, really good soccer player.
No doubt about it. And then, Coach, I want to talk about the 3 key areas. You've mentioned a little bit about each one, but just want to, kind of unrack your brain a little bit. But talk about just offensively attacking. In your eyes, Coach, obviously you are more of an expert than I am, but what does it take to be great offensively? Obviously, you got to have the talent and attacking ability and put the pressure on, but what does it take to be really good in that area of the field?
Well, you got to have girls that can finish. I mean, and we got a couple of them that can finish. It's a lot of teams will create chances. They'll get down there by the goal. They just can't find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. And I've got 2 or 3 of them that can. And when you have that, then that makes all the difference in the world. And like I said, our system, we're a little different than most people. I play with 4 people up top, and most people are playing with 3 at the most. And so by doing that, defensively, like on a goal kick, for instance, we're going to high pressure you. And it's hard for people to work the ball out, and we're going to force them to do stuff they don't want to do. And if we're constantly attacking and constantly bringing pressure, it's like a dam. If you got a slight hole in the dam, you keep bringing that water pressure, eventually that dam's going to break. So we're going to keep creating chances, putting the ball down the field, and one of those girls up top who can finish is going to finish.
No doubt about it, Coach. And then just talk a little bit about the same thing with the midfield. What kind of, impact does that have on you being able to put the pressure on the defense and allowing you to kind of, score goals as well?
So we got our central midfielder, we call her our 8, Gabby Macer. She's kind of she controls everything in the midfield. And I have two 6s that I play with, 2 defensive style midfielders. I rotate them a lot. So I've got about 4 girls that will get time there because they got a lot more work to do. So it's kind of midfield by committee, except for Macer. She's pretty much there the whole time. And you have to do that. If you're going to take chances offensively like we do, you got to ask girls to kind of work a little more than they're used to working. So you've got to rotate a little bit. And the good thing about high school rules is you can sub as much as you want. At the higher levels, there's especially professional soccer, you're only given a certain number of subs per game. So we use that rule to our advantage. With the quality players that I have, I can put girls in there and not really lose too much as far as quality of play.
Okay, see, Coach, I didn't know that. Okay, so you can sub as much as you want, so you can keep your girls pretty fresh too.
Oh, yeah.
Got you.
And a team like, when you have the kind of talent that we have here at West, subbing, it's a strategy. It works for you because you're putting those girls in that they can all play. I got 20 girls on the team, and all of them can play. So you get some of the smaller schools, and they might have 3 or 4 really good players. They don't have that luxury of being able to sub, because if they do, the quality of play is going to drop for them.
No doubt about it. And then last part I wanted to ask about with the three areas. I want to ask you about defense. You talked a little bit about it and having a great goalkeeper, but just talk about some of your defenders and the impact they've had also for your team defensively.
Well, so that's it's been a strength for us. So, like I said, Marley Raymond plays center back for us, and she's, like I said, in the mix for the national team. Kaylee Hilton plays left outside back for us. She's a senior. She started on the state championship team in 22. And then my right back, another senior, Isabella Caruso, and then a junior. Her first name is Danny. I just had a brain fart there. Anyways, Danny, they rotated that outside back. But just the calmness on the ball, and the experience they have. And we try to possess that as much as possible and then take our shots when we can. But they have confidence in each other. They have confidence on the ball. And that's a big part of it. When you have these girls that have played at this high level, they don't get rattled. They've seen so much soccer, played in so many games. There's nothing really that kind of gets them off their game. So it's been, and then having the keeper behind us, it's been a big help for us.
And then if you can elaborate, Coach, talk a little about Marley Raymond. Obviously, we've had her on our platform a couple times, but what just makes her so different? What have you seen from her in terms of progression from maybe her freshman season to where she is now?
Well, as freshmen, they come in, they're talented, but they're not very vocal. They're always going to defer to the upperclassmen, and that's to be expected. I mean, they're a 14-year-old girl, and you have an 18-year-old girl say, "Hey, give me the ball." You're going to give them the ball. So now, but she's a sophomore. She's a year older. She has that year of experience under her belt. Now she's one of the leaders this year. She's much more vocal. She's much more open, and she's just a quality player. She's very athletic. She plays basketball as well here at West. And she's got good size. She's probably 5'9"-ish, so in that range. Maybe 5'8", 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". But yeah, great athlete. Much more open now as a sophomore. Much more relaxed, but just a really good player.
Gotcha, Coach. And then if you had to say, just kind of, what you educate me a little bit more, just what are the biggest parallels, Coach, you see maybe between club soccer and what you see on the high school level? See a lot of, parallels, similarities, differences. What can you say about those two, if you can elaborate?
What's funny, because when I first took this job 7 years ago, I'm a football coach, so of course it was a football coach coaching soccer. Well, I coached soccer my whole career. I've coached soccer. I played soccer since I was a little kid, But the average parent didn't know that. They think that what's this guy know? But the drills they're doing at club are the same drills we're doing. There's no differences. The biggest difference is the age. I mean, and positions. So at the club level, you're choosing your team based on position needs. I need 3 forwards. I need to have 5 midfielders. For me, I put the best players on the field in the position I need them to play in. So, like I said earlier, I might have a girl that plays defense at her club. She's playing right wing or forward for me. Or I got a girl that plays midfield or a club. She's playing outside back for me. It just depends on what our need is. So that's a little bit of a difference there. And also, I think, honestly, the high school games, especially for us, it's much more relaxed. Because at the club level, the girls are all pushing to try to show themselves to get recruited to go to play college soccer. That's the ultimate. All their goals is to play college soccer. So all the showcases they go to and all the tournaments they go to, it's very stressful for them. They're trying to get that look and get that college offer. Whereas for me, we're trying to win a state championship, but it's not that pressure. They know that it's not about being recruited here. It's about having fun, about playing for your classmates, playing for your school, and ultimately, hopefully winning a championship.
And then, Coach, like you said, you've been doing this for a while. Have you noticed, like, going on to the next level, a girl that's played multiple positions? You said it might play right wing and then play, forward for you. Does that versatility, does that help them when they go on to the next level, being able to know how to play multiple positions in case they may change when they go?
I think so. Actually, I haven't seen it, like, personally. I can imagine that it does help. But funny story, like I said, Presley Freeman, who's going to be BYU, she plays outside back, and she'll play defense there. And she's like, Coach Galt, I'm not playing defense anymore. I'm playing offense. It's just funny because they get to experience. Because once you're at the club level, once you're 10, 11, 12 years old, you're pigeonholed as a defender or you're pigeonholed as a forward, and that's what you play every year. Now, some coaches will move you around, of course, it happens, but you're pretty much on that team, that position. So I think the girls really enjoy trying to play different positions, and stuff they don't get a chance to do at their club. So that's my experience, at least.
Got you, Coach. Appreciate you elaborating on that. And then it's a couple games I wanted to ask you about this year. Some of your tightly contested ones that ended in ties. I wanted to get your takeaway. Just what happened in that Cambridge game, tie game, 3-3. What's your biggest takeaway from that one?
Cambridge, quality team, had a chance to win it. Then they tied it up, and they scored late, and then we ended up getting a PK to tie them. I felt like we should have won the game, but you tie a quality team like that, you're happy with the result.
No doubt. And then the other game was against Westminster. It was a 4-4 game. What do you just kind of recall from that one? How was it like being out? That was a high-scoring one.
Yeah, that was a high score. That was a fun game. That really was. We like to play Westminster every year because they're Westminster. I mean, they're in the state 8 times in a row. I mean, they're a great program, and we hadn't beat them yet, so we should have beat them. We had them up. We were winning 4-3 with like 3 minutes left, and then we gave a free kick up, and the ball just fell right in front of their girl, and she was able to finish. And but we have a good relationship with those coaches over there. And we like playing each other because we know it's going to be a quality match. And that day, it was beautiful. It was sunny. They have a nice, huge, big grass field. We haven't played in grass in forever. Everybody's on turf now. So it was a great field, or great pitch, as a soccer you like to say. And it was a lot of fun. I'm telling you, if you're just a soccer fan and you were up in those stands, you saw a really, really good soccer game.
No doubt about it, Coach. And then you guys just picked up a win this past week against Forsyth Central. Pretty dominant win, 6-0. Just kind of what happened in that one, the second straight shutout. What did you see defensively from your group, and then what did you see on the attacking end as well?
Well, it was another one of those rain games. It seems like every game this year, especially on a Friday, is a rain game. But Central last year was a semifinal team, and they had the talent to win it all last year. Central they were really, really good last year, and they lost a lot of players. So we didn't lose many players. It was just a matter of, we had more talent on the field at the time, and we kind of showcased that because those guys at Central, they do a really good job, and they do it the right way. They just happen to, be in a downtrend as far as talent goes, and we're still pretty good. So.
No doubt, Coach. And then I just want to go back. You talked about kind of the culture piece, but again, when you have high-level talent, I know you talked about the pressure the club has and kind of it's more relaxed when you go in high school. But, Coach, I mean, you got so many different girls that come in. You talked about kind of your, hands-off approach, just, building good rapport with them. But, Coach, talk about when it's high talent that sometimes you got egos. Like, how do you balance all that and make sure the girls know it's one big goal? Like, it's not about you, but we got to buy into what we're trying to do.
It's tough. It really is because there are egos involved, and I try to. There's about 6 girls that'll play the whole game, and those are and I don't say it to them. They know the 6 top girls. They're not coming off the field, but everybody else, I'm going to try to play the same amount of time as much as I can, sub as much as possible, and let them play equally. And by doing that, I think I've avoided a lot of problems, honestly, with those egos because the top girls know they're the top girls. And the other girls know they're the top girls. So there's no real problem there. But if I was subbing those top girls and cutting into their time, then I might have a little bit of an issue. So I make sure that I play the ones that are supposed to play the most. And ultimately, they're the ones that are going to score goals for us and do what's necessary to win the game. The other girls' job is really to get them the ball, and they understand that. There's no hiding it. It is what it is. But the beauty of it is they all contribute. They all have their roles. And it's worked. I mean, so hopefully it'll keep working because this team is special. This team is probably the tightest knit group that I've had. I don't know overall talent wise. I haven't. So we'll know at the end of the year if we talent wise if we're better than teams that I've had in the past. But I know they're much tighter. They really enjoy playing with each other. They really enjoy being around each other. So that's been a lot of fun to see that.
And then if you can compare, Coach, just this team compared to 2022, 2021, right? You talked about the talent and being kind of tight-knit. What do you think in your eyes? You've won on a high level, Coach. What have you seen that goes into kind of winning that championship? Is it being a tight-knit group? What are some of those things that you got to have if you're going to win it?
Well, I've done it both ways. 21, super talented. I mean, I had a girl score 54 goals, and she's playing professionally now. And we were talented. I mean, but I'll tell you this, though. That year, 21, the entire state there was so much talent out there because we had just come off COVID. The DA program had just shut down. So all those girls that all were playing DA that weren't allowed to play high school, they all played high school. So every school across the state was loaded with talent. So the fact that we won that championship, that year, that was pretty. We had a whole lot of talent team. And the next year, they were much more tight. They weren't as talented, but they were much more tight knit. and they found ways to win. And we peaked at the right time. We put girls in the right spots to help the team have success. This year's team is a combination. We've got some of that same talent level from 21, but I think we're actually closer than that 22 team. So we'll see what happens. I like our chances, but we got some teams out there that are pretty dang good. I know Buford's out there and they're pretty good, and Mill Creek's always in the mix. Harrison's. So we got some teams that are quality out there still in front of us.
No doubt about it, Coach. And then from you, if you can elaborate, just going on, from when you came in early on, right, and coaching soccer, what are some of the biggest differences you see now in the high school sport of soccer that maybe you didn't see maybe 10 years ago or even a half decade ago?
It's hard to say exactly. Like the places I've been places where I had to teach kids how to play soccer. I was at Cass High School there for 4 years, and Cass is not a soccer program, but a soccer school. But I had to teach them how to trap the ball, how to pass the ball, the basics of soccer. And then you come to West, which is the exact opposite. They're all highly talented players, so I'm teaching other stuff to them as far as tactics go and strategy and that kind. So it's just in this area though, in Forsyth County with this talent, I think getting more of the high level girls to play is kind of a change that I've seen, because when DA was in, a lot of these girls weren't playing. You got to think that the Della Pruder girl, a sister that went to West that could have played. It was an older sister, never played at West. I got two girls that aren't playing this year. One of them graduated early, who played on both state championship teams, who was an absolute stud. She decided to leave to go to Kentucky early, and I have another girl who would have played this year who tore her ACL. And those are two high level players that were going to play. And I think for me personally, we're getting those girls to come out because they know the way I am as a coach, the way the team is. It's an enjoyable experience for them. There's no pressure. It's just fun. And this is the saying I used to say all the time. The difference between coaching boys and girls is with boys, they've got to win to have fun. With girls, they got to have fun to win. And I firmly believe that. So for me, to answer your question, I think I'm getting more and more of those high-level girls to come out is probably a change, I think, what they've had in the past here at West.
No doubt about it. And then, Coach, just overall soccer question, how excited are you to kind of see the growth of the sport, not just on the boys' side, but also on the girls' side here in the U.S.? We've got the World Cup coming here in a couple of years. Just how excited are you to see the kind of just the growth of the sport and becoming more popular here in the U.S. in a sport that's global around the world?
No, I love it. Soccer's a great sport. I played soccer my whole life. I played college football, but I played soccer my whole life, and it's kind of funny because when I first got into coaching football, all my football coaching guys always tease me. You coach that communist sport, and in Georgia it took a while for soccer to kind of take off, but it's here and it's here to stay because it's a great sport. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, with the World Cup coming, and it's just we're in the right spot. And then you got the home base of USA Soccer is now in Fayette County. That's huge. That's huge. The state of Georgia is about to explode. It's already big. We already have a lot of talent, but it's about to explode, and I'm excited about it.
No doubt. And last question, Coach, I'll let you get out of here. Being that you are a coach, what would you say somebody that wants to get involved in the sport? Let's say they're young, they're 6, 7 years old. What are some of the keys if they want to play the sport on the high school level, or even the college level, on the girls' side, and they want to be able to get that exposure, but also be developed in a way where they can play in college? Well,
you got to play club soccer. Soccer is a skilled sport. You look at football. I can get a kid that's a decent athlete. I can teach him the game and make him into a pretty good football player. Soccer is a skilled sport. There's so many things you've got to learn as far as your first touch, just having control of the ball. Now, you got to be an athlete too. Don't be wrong. But so start young. You got to play high level club soccer and just try to find a joy. Don't do it because your parents want you to do it. Don't do it because your friends do it because you want to do it. If you're going to be good at something, it's got to be because you love the sport. And I'm lucky to have a bunch of girls that love playing soccer. They really do. They borrow balls all the time and go out and practice on their own. And but to be at that level, you got to put the time in. You do, and then genetics is a big part of it. You got to have the measurables. It's like that in every sport. It doesn't matter what sport: football, soccer, baseball. You got to have measurables. So if you're a girl that's going to be, pretty good size, it's 5'8", 5'9", you can run, and hey, soccer's a good sport because that's a big soccer player right there for girls.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach Glad, thank you so much for joining the show. Gave us some really good advice to end our interview. And I just want to say, appreciate you so much. Good luck the rest of the way with your girls. And go Wolverines. And good luck. Hopefully see you guys in state.
All right, appreciate it. About to go play Alpharetta senior night, so we're excited about that.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. There goes Coach Glad.
Thanks for having me.
Coming on. Yes, sir. Appreciate him coming on the show. Talking a little bit about West Forsyth and the Wolverines. They got, as he mentioned, they got Alpharetta on senior night coming up as well, and they've had a dominant show in the last two matches. Right, they've scored. I think it was 7 goals. Let me make sure. They scored 7 goals against Berkmar, 6 against Forsyth Central. So 13 goals in the past 2 games, about 6.5 that they're scoring. So they have been outstanding, and that's why I wanted to feature their program and just talk a little bit about them. And obviously, as you said, they're very talented, but they're also tight-knit as well. So they're going to be one to watch. I think they're as high as number 4 in our Score Atlanta poll as well. But we're going to take one more quick short break before we end with the third segment in my top 5.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation. Unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys, so welcome back. We're going to conclude the show. We got some more sports to talk about. We're going to talk, obviously, about soccer, and then we'll get into a little bit about lacrosse and some of the top matchups this week and some girls that have been doing their thing, and then we'll talk about the top 5. So let's talk a little bit about soccer and highlight some players. Brookwood, they won their region championship after an 8-0 Archer victory this past weekend. They did their thing. They won 8-0. And Brookwood so far is having a really great year, right? They're 11-2. They started the season 0-2. Since they've ride off 11 consecutive victories, all have been shutouts, which is when I looked and I did my research on it, I was like, dang, every game has been a shutout. So the defense has been playing really marvelous the past few games. They've locked down, shut down opponents. I might try to see if I can get the head coach on next week potentially, but they're doing their thing. Their leading scorer this year has been Hayden Barnett. She has 17 goals and 11 assists, and they're getting really great contributions from Skylar Schroeder. She has 11 goals and 6 assists so far this year. And Maddie Allen, their junior, has 8 goals and 15 assists. So what I like so far, what I've seen, it's almost like they're complementing each other well. Brookwood's going to be a team to watch. Obviously, our coach that just was on talked about Mill Creek and Buford. I think, they might be a kind of a team to watch too. Kind of a dark horse looks like will be Brookwood. I think they're number 7 in our Score Atlanta poll, but I really think that they got a strong potential, and they can do it not just defensively and shutting down opponents, but they also can score at a rapid rate and a high rate as well. So they're going to be a team to watch. They've been doing their thing, and they are now region champions, so they will be the 1 seed come playoff time. But let's keep it rolling. Got to give a shout out to Shallow girls. I know they're not having the best year, but Blanca Cruz, she officially surpassed 100 goals in her career. That is no easy feat right there, so shout out to her for passing that mark. She's been doing all she can for her group, and she surpassed that total. As far as top performances this week on the soccer realms, got to give a shout out to Brel Delgado from Alexander. She plays for their soccer group, but she was fantastic this past week. She scored 4 goals and assisted on 3 of them in a blowout win over Douglas County. She's been spectacular so far this year for them, and has continued to put up big numbers. And also Peyton Brooks of Social Circle, she also had a great week. Did it all in their 10-0 win against Jasper County. Scored 6 goals and assisted on the remaining 4. So she had a total of 10 points in that matchup, scoring 6 and assisting on 4. So that is how you do it. That is how you get it done. She's been marvelous all season long. Then you go to the girls. Got to talk about girls lacrosse. As you guys know, the rankings will drop tomorrow, so stay tuned to that. Go to scorecl.com, see all of our latest and greatest content. But yes, my rankings drop tomorrow. I can't wait to look. I know on the boys' side, Lamb had a big victory. Craig talked about a show yesterday. Go back on the YouTube channel and watch that. We talked about Lambert beating Buford, and Lambert has caught my eye. I'm not gonna lie. They're gonna be interesting to watch on the boys' side and seeing if they can get back to where they were. Obviously, West Forsyth won their first state championship last year, but on the girls' side, you got Hillgrove versus Roswell. Roswell is 9-3. They've had a little bit of a skid, but I'm still very high on what they're able to do. They were number 1 for most of the season in the polls, and what they've been doing. Let's see really quick. So 9-4. So they actually lost to Hillgrove last night, actually 11-9. So they've gone through a tough stretch, guys. They lost 3 of their last 4 games. Lost 8-4 to Cambridge, 9-8 to Cale, and then 11-9 to Hillgrove. So I don't think they're going to drop very much in my poll. I think it'll probably be a few slots, but I'm going to keep them as a top 10 team. I think they are. Just sometimes you reach those tough kind of parts of the season. And what's crazy to think, guys, you only have a couple more games left in the regular season before we hit playoff time. It's crazy to even say that. The season goes really, really fast. But my eyes on them. And then also you had the matchup between Walton and Campbell. Let's see how that played out. I think if it's not yesterday, it was tonight. But let me make sure. Okay, that is boys lacrosse. One sec, guys. Okay, so yes, 10-3 so far this year. Again, they have rattled off ever since they started. So what's crazy about Walton is they started the season 0-3. They lost to Blessed Trinity 13-7. They lost to 10-9 to Roswell in overtime, and then 13-8 to Creekview. Since then, they have been on a hot streak. They've won 10 consecutive games. A couple out-of-state wins against Mountain Brook and also Spain Park of Florida. And then they've also rattled some impressive victories lately, beating a really good Cherokee team, beating Stars Mill, and then the last 3 beating Hillgrove 9-7, Hill Lambert 10-8, and absolutely demolishing Campbell 19-3. So they have been doing their thing. They have had a great stretch of games lately as well. But far as the scoreboard, for tonight and tomorrow, some games you guys can look out for. I'm going to look it up real quick. Okay, so far as tonight goes, guys, so top games you want to watch out for. East Forsyth has been my top team on the girls' side. They're 10-3. They will play against Kingsridge Christian. They've been in and out of the poll lately, but that's gonna be an intriguing one. The one later on, Cale Cherokee. That's a big game as well. They're both ranked top 10 in our Score Atlanta poll, so can't wait to see what they do. And then an underrated one will be Fellowship Christian. They have not suffered a loss all year. 11-0. Will be going against Pace Academy, their rival. Tonight at 6 p.m. So that is another big-time game for them. So that's on the docket for today. And also the last one tonight, McIntosh versus Wesleyan. Got big implications. Wesleyan is 9-1. McIntosh has been a surprise team so far. Finally hit some rankings for Max Preps at their 10-2 record as well. So those are some of the top matchups tonight. And then tomorrow, looks like we have Walton and North Paulding is going to be one to see. Both are ranked in the polls in the 7A. As I said, Walton has been won 10 consecutive games ever since losing their first 3. And also South Forsyth, West Forsyth, another marquee game between those two. South Forsyth has been at the top of the poll most of the season. So those are the top matchups I got for this upcoming week. We talked about some of the top teams. Now we're going to give a shout out, talk about some of the top players that have been playing good this season, and hit some milestones as well. So this is on the middle school side, but I want to give them a shout out. Undefeated middle girls team was Mount Perrin Christian. They beat Kingsridge 7-1. They've been doing some great things this season. Kimball, she was crowned ground ball queen, and the defense locked them down, only allowing 1 goal in that game. Mosley scored 2 goals, also joined by Boardman, Smith, Kimball, and Child. So they've been doing their thing, still undefeated on the middle school girls side is Mount Perrin. So I wanted to give them a shout out. And then Jenna Ludstedt, she reached 400 career saves in her career for the Cambridge girls lacrosse team. They've had another marvelous season, but she has 400 career draw wins. That is no easy feat that she's been doing on that. And special shout out to her. She's been doing great on the pitch so far this year. So special shout out to her. All right, and the last one I wanted to shout out was Lovett. Special shout out to Lovett, and that is going to be Ella Fletcher. 2025 so far this year. Last night against Whitewater, she amassed over 300 career saves this past week and just 52 career games. So she's one of the best goalies. She's been doing her thing all year long, and now she's over 300. Only a junior, so could see this mark well over 450 or 500 with the playoffs upon us. So she's been doing her thing. Special shout out to you as well. But all right, guys, now it is time for my top 5, Najeh's top 5, to end the show every week talking about some of the top headlines for girls sports. So we're going to start off with Atlanta Tipoff Club team. So some special players made this team. So some of those, Miss Georgia basketball was Danielle Carnegie from Grayson High School. Obviously, you guys know she's going to Georgia Tech. Metro Player of the Year was Ava Grace Watson. She's headed to Ohio State. She had a great year for Buford. And then first team, we talked a little about her earlier, and that was Aubrey Beckham, what she was able to do for Hebron Christian as a junior. She's be back for another year. You also got Brianna Preston, who's headed to Texas, played for Wesleyan this year. She made first team. Haley Swain from Holly Innocence is going to Stanford. She made the team, first team. Tiana Thompson from Galloway, also headed to Georgia Tech. She made first team. And then Chastity Wright of Wesleyan, who played in the state championship against Hebron Christian, she made first team, also headed to Georgia Tech. Second team honors was Jakara Butler, also of Hebron Christian. You had Gabby Grooms, Trinity Christian, also headed to Georgia Tech. Kate Harpring made second team from Marist. And then Erin Rogers for Grayson High School, she made second team as well. And then Tony Warren made second team as well. And then third team was Sierra Alexander of Mount Perrin Christian. She's going to Campbell University. Third team was Jada Bates from McEachern High School. She's going to Arkansas. And then third team was Kayla Cleveland, who's really good. I'm very high on River Ridge High School. Didn't win it all this year, but has a really strong team as well. And then Brooke Suttle, senior, Campbell High School. She made third team. And then also third team was Samaya Wyatt, St. Francis. She made third team as well. And then there's a bunch of honorable mentions. Some of those players, Daniel Oshu, Sophia Pearl of River Ridge, Deja Preston of Carrollton, Zanaya Preston of Holly Innocence, Bella Ragone of Mill Creek, Janiza Spears of Southwest DeKalb, Caroline Mullins of Pickens, Mela Jones of Grayson, Malaya Jones, Mia James of Hebron Christian, Justice Fitzgerald, she's really good, of Norcross High School, Jessica Fields of Mount Perrin, Jocelyn Falson of New Manchester, Talia Cornish of Maynard Jackson, Tatum Brown of Grayson High School, and last but not least, Ava Andrews of North Paulding. So you guys can go to atltipoffclub.com to get the full list of the top players that made it on the girls' side, but I wanted to give them a shout out. Now, I was telling Craig this at number 2, this throne tournament. I think you guys should definitely check it out. I wrote an article on it on scoreatl.com. And what's so cool I like about it is it gives an alternative to the Chipotle National. So they have a girls tournament as well. So Hebron didn't get into the girls tournament for the Chipotle National that's broadcasted on ESPN, but some of these games are broadcasted on NBA TV, Fox Sports, etc., etc. So they're going to play in the Throne National Tournament. They had obviously a phenomenal year, 30-2 this past year. They won the Class 3A title. They beat trying to think. They ended up beating Wesleyan to win the title. So they've had, a marvelous year. But how it's looking, they're going to play in a 16-team bracket. That's for boys, 18 bracket for girls. It's going to be played March 28th, so this weekend, through March 30th at American Dream, in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So the tournament is set to be in New Jersey, 18 bracket. And what's so cool, the Lions are actually going to get, looks like a bye. They're going to face the winner of Desert Vista, Arizona, and Bishop Ayrton of Virginia at 3 p.m. on Friday in their semifinal matchup. If they win, they will play the championship at noon on Saturday. So I think it's super cool. They ended the year well, 21-game winning streak as well. They take a little bit of a break, but they also played in marquee tournaments all year long. They played in the 27th annual Nike Tournament of Champions in Arizona in December, and they finished 7th among those 16 teams. And also, they are a Nike basketball school, if you guys didn't know about Hebron Christian. So it's really cool to see them get on the stage. Their head coach is obviously great. She's won so many state championships at Wesleyan, obviously now at Hebron Christian. She's at 700 career wins in her career, and she's the winningest girls basketball coach in Georgia. So that's a little about her pedigree and what she's accomplished and done. And I just love seeing Georgia teams on the national stage, and can't wait to see what they're able to do. And they have a really good inside track to win it all. I mean, they have a deep team: Aubrey Beckham, Daniel Oshu, Maya James. They got a whole roster that I think could even win it all. So Go check them out. That will be the Throne National Tournament, March 29th at 3 p.m. is where they're going to play. Go to the GwinnettDailyPost.com for all of the news there. So special shout out to them. All right, so number 3, we'll move on to girls lacrosse, and I got to give a shout out to Lexi Tinker. She was big time in Mill Creek's win this past Monday, actually, against Peachtree Ridge. So she scored 3 goals and had 7 assists in that game. She improved Mill Creek to an 8-3 overall record and 4-1 in area play. They also got good contributions from Bella Hodge. She had 2 goals and an assist. Alexis Eichenberger with 3 goals, and Ellie Grace Mitchell 2 goals and an assist in that one. So great showing for them. They've been kind of teetering on the poll so far this year. They've been just right outside the top 10. So I'm gonna do another look at them. But she's been balling for Mill Creek this year and did it again with 3 goals and 7 assists in their win. So shout out to her getting it done on the pitch. All right, at number 4, gotta give a shout out to Brooklyn Randolph. She's the new school record holder for Lanier High School in the 100-meter hurdles. She set the time with a 15:02 time in the Gwinnett County Track and Field event. As you guys know, they had the championships this weekend. We highlighted some girls earlier, but I did not want to forget about her, put her in my top 5 because what she was able to do, that's pretty fast, running the 100-meter hurdles. As you guys all know, the hurdles is a difficult event. You're running it fast, and then you have to jump over. So, I mean, it's a tough event to do, but she ended up winning it for school and also set the school record. So, special shout-out to her at number 4. And, all right, last but not least, at number 5 to conclude the show, Phoebe Prescott had to save a special spot for her at number 5 for Fitzgerald. Last 2 games of last week, she absolutely balled out. 9 goals and assisted on 4 others in that 2-game stretch, about 4.5 goals in that 2-game stretch that she did. And Fitzgerald is a team to watch, right? In 2A, 11-1-1 this season, and curling on a 10-game win streak. Lost their first game, went 1-1 their first 2 games, have won 10 consecutive since. So Prescott, she's having a phenomenal year for the program, averaging about 4 goals per game. As you guys can see, 4.5 in that stretch. And listen to the stat line. She has 48 goals this year and 16 assists. So she's been doing her thing. In the last 3 games, she's had 7 goals, 4 goals, and 5 goals. So she's one of the best attackers, I think, in the state. And she's been doing her thing for Fitzgerald all year long. And she's gotten hot lately. Like I said, 7, 4, and 5. And she's been doing her thing on the pitch all year long. So Fitzgerald's going to be a team to watch, I think, in our poll before we wrap up. Looks like we just actually released soccer rankings as well, week 7. So go to scoreatl.com to get the latest on that. But in 2A, let's see real quick. Fitzgerald's the number 2 team in our poll that just got released. Again, go on scoreatl.com to get the full list. But Fitzgerald's going to be a team to watch. They are a title contender, and Phoebe Prescott is one of those reasons why. So that's all I got for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to Love It for also reaching out to me, trying to get you guys as girls coach on soccer. I know you guys have been doing your thing. Appreciate you guys reaching out on the Instagram account as well. But yeah, it's going to try to get you guys on next week if possible to come on the show and talk a little bit about your group as well. But thank you so much for the support. Hope you guys enjoyed. Craig is going to be on tomorrow. I know he's trying to get Providence Christian on tomorrow for a show drive for the GSA state title at noon. So you guys stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.